and the last, and Muhammad was the most perfect person ever. So we grew up in that environment. And
growing up, did you study the Quran and the Hadith?
Yes, but mostly culturally. Like we would go and read in Arabic, for example. We didn't understand the meaning. They told us if you read in Arabic, you get more points to go to heaven. So I was trying to be a good Muslim. I loved God as a boy, and they told me Allah is the God. So I began to follow and pray, go to mosque, and fast in Ramadan. And we were Shiites, so we used to go beat ourselves with chains on the streets, all to please Allah, hoping and wishing to go to heaven. And so when I was 16 years old, something happened to me that it changed my life. In fact, before that, I saw so many bad things on the streets. I saw people being executed publicly, hanging from a crane. I saw people being tortured, beaten. And they told us these are infidels, these are the enemies of Allah, these are Zionists or spies for Israel, all these things. And so when I was 16 years old, I was arrested and tortured by the regime in Iran.
Why?
I was going to a wedding, and I was in the car of some relatives. They gave me a ride. My family was already there at the wedding, and they had some alcohol. And based on Islamic law, you can't even have or possess or make or buy or sell or drink alcohol. And they had some, not really drunk, but probably a little. And my only crime was I was in the car. And there's an Islamic checkpoint. They pulled the car over and they began to smell the alcohol. And they asked us to come out. They put us in a bus. And the bus got filled so fast because they arrested so many people for different reasons. And they took us to a confinement, to a jail, and then they took all our clothes off, bare naked. And they started pouring cold water on us and whipping us with this big, thick electric cable. And then they had us face the wall, sit up, sit down. Then they took us threw us into a room, a small room. And we were choking, no food. One boy.
And all that because you were sitting in a car?
Sitting in the car.
That somebody had alcohol in.
Exactly. And I was 16. I didn't drink alcohol. I didn't do anything wrong. And I saw the cruelty of these people. I saw how these Islamists, they were beating people, torturing people. We had only one boiled egg in the morning, one boiled egg at night. One bottle of water forever to drink. Restroom one time in the morning, one time at night, 60 seconds. So I saw the cruelty. I said, is this Islamic justice? Is this Islamic law? And so I became the victim. And then we went to court and with shackles on our hands and our feet, we paid a fine and they released us. But that was the beginning of when I began to question Islam. I began to say, what kind of religion is this? What kind of justice is this? And my mother said, no, Islam is good. These people make it look bad. I said, okay. Then I began to do my own research. I began to read the translation to see whether what Muhammad said and what this regime does is contrary and opposite. And I began to read the Quran, the Hadith, and I saw, wow, so much evil in the Quran. Muhammad killed people. I saw Muhammad beheaded people, cut people's hand off. It says not to be friends with Jews and Christians, Surah 551. Muhammad says don't take Jews and Christians for your friends. In Surah 929, Muhammad said kill those who don't believe in Allah, His Messenger, and in the religion of truth, which is supposedly Islam, and they don't believe in what Allah and His Messenger made unlawful. Kill them unless they pay jizya, blood money. In Surah 928, he cursed the Jews and Christians. In Surah Muhammad verse 4, it says, behead the infidels wherever you find them. So when I saw these things, I saw, wow, this could not be from God. So I lost my faith in Islam completely. But at the same time, I was asking and questioning, so where I come from? Who made this world? If there's no God, then who made the world? If there's a God, then who is He? And in Islam, what Islam has done, it attached itself to Christianity, to Judaism. For example, it says, yeah, we believe in the Torah and in the Gospel. We believe in Moses and Abraham and Noah. And so in my mind, I thought all of them were the same family. I didn't even know Jesus was a Jew or he was from Israel. Nothing. So when I began to see the cruelty of Islam and the injustice and evil that is in it, I completely realized that either there's no God or if there's a God, it couldn't be this one. Then from 16 to 19, many things happened. My father died. I lost my school. All my hope was gone. Life was meaningless, depressing, sad, and uncertain. Everything seemed like so meaningless for me. I wanted to know the meaning of life. I didn't want to live in this world that is so dark and depressing. And so when I was 19 years old, for the first time, I heard about Jesus. I heard that...
Who told you?
So first time, I heard through a radio. And on this radio, I heard about that...
Iranian radio?
Yeah, I was broadcasting from outside. I don't know which radio was it. I heard a testimony, actually. It wasn't the gospel. I heard a testimony of a guy who was going to kill himself, and then he heard this music as he was going to take his life. He followed the music. He went to a church, and there he became a Christian. His life changed. That's all I heard. But I didn't make much of it. And then a few weeks later, I heard through satellite, broadcasting into Iran from outside, that Jesus is the Lord, and He died for me, and He rose from the dead. And I said, no, that's too good to be true. How could God have a son? All these, He rose from the dead. And I said, no. Second time I heard again. The third time I heard, I said, okay, Jesus, if this is true, I ask you to show me. I ask you to come into my life. If it's real, be my Lord, be my Savior. And I prayed this prayer. I said, if it's real, I want to see. Show me something. I want to see. And the moment I say that, a heat went through my hand. Through my left hand. The heat went through my hand, went through all my body. I began to shake and tremble. I began to cry. And I felt this love and this peace and this joy I'd never experienced before. I felt a burden was lifted off my shoulder. I began to feel love for people, for anybody who had hurt me. I began to forgive them. I began to feel forgiveness and love and joy. I mean, it was a instant transformation. It was in the process.
Beautiful.
I was just full of joy. I was jumping up and down. And then I went to my mom's house.